morning, Shreya. So, thank you so much for joining this conversation. It's been my long time thought process to have a learning through discussion session, especially on how richer learning can be when you, in fact, discuss life experiences that AI agents and AI prompts cannot, generate, probably be the base for them. But thank you so much in your beautiful schedule to incorporate this.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's lovely to spend this morning with you.
Thank you. So, to begin with, a childhood memory of yours that has shaped to who you are today.
Okay, that's an easy one because there's one very specific memory of listening to my mother sing at home.
Hmm.
All of this for me started with that. In fact, it's not even a memory that I have very fleshed out, but she has told me so many times about this that now it's like very firmly etched in my mind.
Ah.
Um, so it was just a very random day of her. My mother was singing, learning and singing back then, and she was practicing at home, and I was just walking around being a kid. And I believe I stopped her at one point and said, "What is it that you're doing? Whatever you have, I want this."
Ah.
And that's
She
how
also
it.
used to practice Carnatic
Yes,
play.
yes, very much
Ah,
so. My
beautiful.
mother both veena as well as vocal.
Wow.
Her guru is Bombay Ramchandran sir, and she was learning, and she's very, very passionate. And I think it comes from that, even for me, whatever little. So yeah, it's because I told her this thing, whatever this is, I want this too. I like this. So then she took me to her teacher, and that's how I got started on this whole music journey.
Wow. What a beautiful start, no, from your mother herself.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll now go to the instant mojo, something that energizes you instantly. So, that gives you the energy spark. So, before you, in fact, answer this, I want you to say how do you get it and how do you keep it? And in case you lose it, so how do you get it back?
I really don't know. Instant mojo. I'm not even sure that I believe in that.
Okay.
Um, because I mean it's a mix of things. It's all contextual. But
Okay.
if it's to do with is it to do with music per se that you're asking?
Anything that actually gives you that spark or the motivation to, immediately perform something.
Perform something. Then I would say listening, right?
Mm.
When you listen to something that's you'll get that aha, that you that is like
The
instant
spark.
connection. Yeah. And the then that kind of draws you in. It's like a moth to a flame, no? That it's just that. When I listen to something that is just really beautiful or something that's like a very fresh idea, and then you will uncontrollably be, it'll keep going over in your mind, and then I will keep humming it. Then I'll want to play it. And then, but it does that seamlessly on its own. It's like you just have to get on the conveyor belt and then it'll just take you like that. Mhm. If it's to do with
Wow.
music, yeah, then definitely when I listen to something that's very um it kind of draws me in, and then it does its own thing.
Lovely. So beautiful. Okay, so now to officially get into our topic for the day that we have picked.
Hmm.
Um, what is like, how do you consciously separate Shreya the artist from Shreya the individual?
There is no such separation. If
So
I
the
had
artist in itself is the original.
No, the person happens to be an artist, that's all. If I had to do like a separation to be artistic, then actually I wouldn't have been an artist.
Ah,
If it was that conscious and that much of a deliberate separation per se, then if you think about it, I wouldn't have even become an artist because that's how I spend most of my time, right? Most of my days. So it has to just be who you are, I think. And that's how you end up even being an artist to begin with.
how sweet. Um, so what first drew you to the violin over vocal music or any other instrument?
I actually started off singing. I did not start off on the
Ah,
violin. Like I said, Amma took me to her guru, Bombay Ramchandran sir, and for about 3 years or so, I learned vocal music. That was my introduction to Carnatic music. And for some reason at that time, I kind of lost my voice. I wasn't able to sing anymore. I wasn't,
how old were you? 5 years.
no, I
Four.
was about 9 at that time,
Ah,
9, 10, something around that age.
okay.
And I couldn't sing anymore. In fact, it got progressively worse where sometimes I couldn't even speak. I couldn't use my voice at all for
Uh,
anything. And
yeah, yeah.
my mother kind of, we did the rounds. We went to the ENTs and therapists and, the voice specialists and all of that. And somehow nobody could properly figure out or put their finger on this is the problem per se. So they just said maybe after, a lot of different types of consultations and we tried different kinds of medication and therapy and all of that. And finally, the consensus was maybe just give it a rest and let the body do its thing, nature
Okay.
take its course. So I had to stop my classes. I had to stop singing, right? And at that point I was actually super miserable because even then I think I was
Yeah,
uh,
the music in you
loved
was
it.
like kind of
Yeah,
boiling.
I loved it. There was no question of career or anything at that because you're a kid and you just love what you do and that's why you're doing it. Right. And I was so in love with singing that I was miserable that I couldn't sing.
You couldn't do it.
And that's when Amma said, okay, if not for singing, maybe an instrument so that at least the music will continue in some form. And that's how violin sort of came into the picture. And then
Wow. So the magic actually began as a, I mean, I think life is like that. No, we don't know what gives way for
absolutely.
us.
We don't know what leads to what. We don't know which ones. Sometimes we say it's a good thing or it's a bad thing or it's a sad thing. But the honest to God truth is, I don't think at that point we know enough. You never know what then leads to what.
Ah,
When you look back,
exactly.
it might have been a good thing or a bad thing. Your perspective changes with time. So, yeah,
Beautiful. So how would you describe the personality of a violin in Carnatic music?
that's a very abstract question. Maybe tell me what you mean a little bit more.
Personality in the sense soft, beautiful, hard, or something of majestic, thing like that.
I think it's a bit of everything, no? It's contextual. I think it's a very, very versatile instrument. It
Actually,
plays
it is something very close to closely knit to a human voice, right? Like I think among many of the string instruments.
true. I mean, actually, the veena that way is the closest to the human voice.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Indian singing is said to be. But yes, the violin does have the ability to replicate or recreate the nuances of Carnatic vocal singing,
mhm.
music as well. Um, and it's a very, very versatile thing. To go back to your question, it plays also multiple roles to that
Mhm.
end. It can be like a collaborative instrument. It is, frequently it is there now in every vocal concert. For that matter, vocal other instruments also, flute, veena, everything has a violin.
Ah, I love flute also. Flute is also something, yeah, so intriguing. Like.
Absolutely. So it does that. It can be as part of an ensemble. It can be a solo instrument. It can be part of another instrumental collaboration. So it is very, very versatile, and I think that is possible because it lends itself to so many different kinds of articulation. It can be quiet, it can be soft, it can be very sprightly. There's lots of technique with both your left hand and your right hand that allows for different forms of expression. So,
Uh,
um, yeah, I think it's like any one of us. You catch one person at different times of the day, and you'll get an entire spectrum of their moods, right?
wow.
So.
Even to hear it, it feels so good. So, so does the violin, without words of its own, demand a deeper emotional translation from the artist than the human voice?
That is a fantastic question. something that applies not just to the violin, but I think all instrumental music and not even
Okay.
Carnatic music,
Hmm.
instrumental music across genre. Um, I don't know actually. Personally speaking, and maybe that's why I also am an instrumentalist, and I don't find the need for any other explanation or um, understanding. I think when you listen to the music, the fact that it's abstract, right? The fact that you
Hmm.
don't hear a lyric is not in any way impediment. In fact, it is the very fact that it's abstract, I think, allows for me to think of it in 1,000 different ways. It is so open for interpretation and it is so open for a fresh experience every time because no one is telling me, or the song is not telling me what it's about. The music is
Hmm.
not telling me anything. The music is just there and I'm just there. So I get to receive it based on how I'm feeling that day, right? It's not only different from person to person, it could also be different for the same person at different points in time,
Yeah. Yes.
right? But like when you listen to something when you're 20, it might be different when you listen to it when you're 25 or when you're 30 or when you're 50. So, or even very simply at different times of the day, you're having a good day, you're feeling light, you've had a kind of a tough day, you're feeling a little bit heavy, right?
Yeah.
And then what the same piece of music might hit you differently. So it's like I have never felt that, the understanding I think comes second. I think the experience of it, the receiving of it, and how you feel the music hits you first.
Right.
And so sometimes when people say, because it's instrumental, I don't understand it that
Yeah.
much. Um,
Correct. I mean, I being an IT professional, music is something that I cannot work without something like that. Though it has no part in what I work for,
right.
but still, when I have a heavy headache, a simple Purvi Kalyani will actually give me that immediate gone off. I don't know why. I don't know the nuances. I mean, I won't even
Absolutely.
know that's Purvi Kalyani until I know I pick up the YouTube music and then listen to it. But somehow, whenever I feel the same like a headache coming up, I go to the YouTube music and then look out for that Purvi Kalyani and listen to it, and I feel fine. No?
See, that's the thing. It's about the feeling. That's exactly what you're saying. More
Mm.
than knowing what it is, understanding. Yes, that's very important. And I can relate with, I can understand when people say, "Can you tell us more about what you're playing?" And I'm very happy to do that because it's always good to, build bridges and bring people together in a common
Okay.
understanding.
Uh-huh.
Having said that, I don't think the receiving of music is dependent on that. I think sometimes, like how you were just describing, I think you just listen and receive, and it does something to you any which way, whether or not you know what it is, and then you keep going back to it, and I think that's the
Yeah, you keep going back to it.
yeah.
Lovely. So, has your relationship with the violin changed over the years?
100%. It's like a person, no, it's perhaps the most constant presence in my life that way, right? From my immediate family. I think the violin has been like such a constant presence.
Your
So
best friend, then your go-to person.
everything, and by the way, not just positive. Sometimes your best friend can make you so frustrated, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah.
your closest relatives, say, so the person you have the best relationship with, still can do something that is just driving you crazy, and right? Or you really want to make something happen, but it just won't happen, and then you're like wondering what is happening. So yes, all shades of the spectrum with
Okay.
violence.
So Shreya's got with the violin. Nice. So when the applause fades and the stage is empty, so what remains between you and your violin?
What was there to begin with? The applause and the stage are temporary. The violin is not with me based on that applause or that stage.
Ah,
It is actually the other way. It's because the violin is with me all the time that the applause on the stage even happens.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's the
what,
reality.
so what was anyway there is what is anyway going to be there in part of that experience. And because, by the way, that violin being with me gives me various different experiences, whether it is learning, collaborating, teaching.
Yeah.
So that violin is the constant. The room every time might be, it might be a classroom, it might be an auditorium, it might be in India, it might be outside, it might be a recording studio, it might be film music, it might be classical music. The violin being there is what is there before, during, and after. All these things come in different pockets along the way.
Beautiful. So, in Carnatic music, Manodharma is often described as spontaneous. But how much of that spontaneity is actually years of invisible preparation?
Oh, that's again a brilliant question. Um, it's not very easy to answer very quickly, but okay. So yes, a lot of Carnatic music, a good part of it is Manodharmam, but I wouldn't translate it exactly to just literal spontaneity. It's not that you're just putting out anything and everything that comes into your mind in the name of spontaneity, right?
Hmm.
This Manodharmam is guided by a very, very codified system of thought process. Whether
Okay.
whether it is, so Manodharmam has different types of expression. It can be like a raga elaboration. It can be swaram, what we call kalpana swaram,
Huh.
or it can be tanam
The
narab,
Alapana,
whichever it is.
Rebel, and all.
Right, whichever it
All
is,
the
expression of
nuances of.
Manodharmam, right? But ultimately they are all based on certain understanding that we get over years and years and years of listening and practicing, where it's literally like we develop a neural net. If you say Purvi Kalyani, how the raga moves, how the phrases interact with each other. So that on one side is the understanding of the raga, and on the other side is the understanding of that mode of Manodharmam. How
Hmm.
does singing a raga alapana work? What comes after what? How do you structure it? Um, how do you tailor it to the composition that's coming along with it, right? Like in the same raga, there could be hundreds of compositions, perhaps sometimes. And you won't sing the raga the same way if, before all of the songs in that. So on that day, what song are you singing? How is the nature of the composition affecting the way that you're processing a raga
Okay.
alapana? So it is, all of this is like a lot of listening, processing, practicing. It's a lot of training. And then a version of this comes out in your performance,
Ah, okay.
right?
It's a version of your practice.
It's a version of everything. It's a version of your practice, your understanding, your how deep is your processing of all of this. And then that kind of comes out distilled when you do something live on the stage. So to that extent, it is spontaneous in the sense that it is not, ideally, it shouldn't be completely rehearsed and memorized and then executed, right?
Ah, okay. So
But it
that's
still
also another skill that you develop, the spontaneity. In fact, then
spontaneity
you
guided by years and years of listening and practicing. That's the thing. That's It's like a very, it's got to walk that very fine line.
got it. Okay. And that too, when you are playing a solo, then when you're accompanying the person who's singing, or you can also accompany other instruments
Yeah, yeah.
like the flute, or like I think
Yes.
the Nataswaram also kind of, no?
Everything, every other instrument, yes.
So they both, I mean, all of you will play the same notes, but I mean, all of you will be in tandem, knowing how you are going with the flow.
It depends, no? So if I'm playing a solo, the context will kind of determine that. So if I'm playing a solo, then clearly the flow of the melodic flow, I'm
Mm.
more in control of, right?
Acha, take it, take. Mhm.
So I am basically sort of expressing a certain flow that is in my mind. Whereas when, say, if I'm accompanying somebody else, then it is the context there is to go to understand and go along with the flow that that artist is creating.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's more like you then you want to be cohesive. Every
Uh,
artist on stage has to come together to create that music, right?
ha, 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 ha.
So that way,
That could happen spontaneous, or it could be a previously practiced or previously, collaborated
it's
something.
mostly spontaneous because
Ah,
we won't know what they are planning, right? Especially when you play accompaniment.
okay.
You
Okay.
very
Yeah.
rarely only I will know what is going to happen beforehand. Mostly it's just like as it happens, you just like, oh, this, that, and then you quickly react and you quickly join it. That's
Mm.
pretty much it.
Oh, wow.
Very, very rarely only we will know exactly, okay, this is going to happen after this is going to happen. That's a very rare case. So it is mostly spontaneous that, for that matter, even if it's a violin concert,
Uh,
I don't know what the percussionists, how they will take the song forward, right?
sure. But if it is your violin solo, then the percussionist will actually follow you, na?
Correct. But even then, I won't know exactly what they're going to do, right? So
Okay.
suppose
Okay.
they,
Oh.
I find that on that given day, I might have started a song keeping something in mind, right?
Mm. Mm.
And then the percussionist might actually infuse some other angle into it that I may not have foreseen. And then that by itself, I think it's very, very important also to be that receptive and open on,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. This
so that
question
you're not
was all about.
yeah, so that you're not, so say I start and then some other input I'm receiving, right? But if I'm closed off to that and I say, no, no, I practiced this, I had this in mind, I want to continue only with this. Sometimes you lose out on a lot of freshness when that happens. Because it even whether it is whichever side of the table you're on, it's like playing
Uh-uh.
like TT, for example. You want to receive, you want that's when you have the rally, that's when it's like it's got that momentum. You're giving and you're receiving with equal ease. So whether I'm playing a solo and I'm working with percussionists, or I am playing accompaniment, I'm working with another singer or instrumentalist and percussionist, by the way.
Okay. Mm.
That way, it's either way, I think it's really nice to be open and receptive in that moment, even if it's like a slight change in course, as long as it's something that you also believe in and that's a nice thing for you to do. I think being open to it can create some magic on stage.
Okay. So focus again. If whatever field you are working with, I think all of. I mean, it's the same. What to say? Same elements that come into picture.
Yeah, lots of parallels.
Okay. Nice. Um, what does a perfect day of practice looks like for you?
I'll tell you when I come across it. I don't think I've had that. I don't know what
Oh,
it's called.
oh, wow. This is amazing. So I'm going to put this up on a highlight.
No, because if honest to God truth
Beautiful,
is, I
Shreya.
don't
Beautiful.
know. I don't know what perfect looks like. I know what most days look like, and that is a mix of the starting point is always you have like a, actually not always, most of the times I would say
Uh,
you have something in mind and that's drawing you to it. So there's something I would have heard, there's something I'll be like, oh, I want to try this, I want to try and learn this. And then I will sit down and get started. And the process by itself is very, it draws you in, right? Otherwise,
mm,
it has to. Otherwise, you'll get bored and frustrated and irritated and you'll just keep it away. Like there are
yeah,
lots of
yeah.
people. Um, so my sister, for example, she is not a
Mm.
musician. She once asked me, man, how do you spend so many hours with a block of wood? And I didn't even understand the question. I couldn't relate that she was calling my violin a block of wood. But well, that's perspective, right? That's how somebody who doesn't. So
Yeah.
I over time I could actually understand how an outside perspective, it might be that way. But unless it draws you in, you can't do it. So that
Yeah, yeah, very true.
that hours of practice where you start something and before you know it 4 hours 6 hours have gone by is a very normal thing, by the way, for us, for me. And sometimes it feels great. Sometimes at the end of a long stretch you'll feel like you're actually worse off than when you started.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
are the days
But
where,
because the best has already crossed and come and
no,
it's
no, there are
in
certain
your.
days where there's no best at all. It just feels like, God, what is this? So, and then you sort of, but the thing is, next day you will, or maybe give it even 2 days break, it doesn't matter. you will come back to it and then try it again, and then it'll,
Ah.
and then finally when you see once like a glimmer of, it's like a light that's coming at the bottom of the door, no, it's a closed door, but you have this one streak
Yeah.
of, the first streak of
And the
light.
beautiful view it gives, or the feeling when you look at it.
Absolutely, that is like, oh my God, I can see something, finally it's moving. And that is what practice to me looks like. Sometimes it's just pure fun, and then you're playing everything that strikes you. It's free exploration. Sometimes it's like you have a specific goal and you're working towards that.
Yeah.
But all of this is different shades of. So I don't know what perfect practice day looks like. I think
So
just practice is good as long as you're showing up and you're engaged and
doing it.
doing it. That itself kind of, um, that is the actual reward, kind of.
Okay, reward.
The stage and the applause and interviews like this, all of that is awesome, right? I'm not going to downplay it. And in many ways, it helps us reach people, and that's what we ultimately want to do as
Yeah,
musicians.
yeah, yeah.
But honestly, that was also the question you asked before, no? What happens after the stage? Or that's what I'm saying. What it is only because this exists before, during, and after
Yeah,
that any
yeah.
of the others exist.
True, true. In fact, it's not just for you, I mean, for your sister who says it's a block of wood. To, popularize, even in my area, a violin, I'll have to give them a lot of explanation, telling, this is this. Otherwise, the first sound of, promoting a concert, or, letting them know that, because I volunteer to, promote this Carnatic music here. So when we go, then they're like, violin. Okay, I mean, they have no idea actually what that instrument can do, or what is the magic that's actually producing. So
Right. I would actually say if it's an instrumental concert, just invite them to come, and then they can decide what the concert is about rather
okay,
than,
yeah, rather than giving them,
I would totally do that. I actually call it the emotion of sound.
yeah,
Um,
of course.
so with every piece, I would just maybe say, this is what I feel when I listen to this piece. Tell me what at the end of the piece, or at the end of the concert, come up to me and tell me what it is that you feel. Because, and trust me, I've got such different responses for different compositions.
Ah, uh-huh.
One side of it is, this is the composition, this is the composer, this is the raga, this is the tala, and I'm happy to share that.
Yeah,
The other side is, say I don't tell you anything at all. You're listening to it as a, just as a piece of music, as a piece of
ah,
melody and rhythm. And then people can, so many times it's like, my mother used to sing something like this to me when I was little. Or when one person actually said, when I was going on the school bus to school, the bus driver used to every day play one composition that at that point was actually irritating, same thing every day. But actually, when I listen to this, it feels like that. Different
so
people
sweet.
have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
thousand different associations with it. So I would say, to the point of, uh, you know, getting people to come to concerts, which is what you're saying. Actually, I think it's less about explanation and more about inviting them to come
Experience.
and experience it, and then tell also the art, share with one another and the artist, this is what this composition was for me. And I think that mutual sharing can be an absolutely beautiful thing, because what one person's anger is another person's sadness, is another person's like longing.
Agree.
And then when we get together and talk about it, and oh, this is what it is, or that's what it is, it's I think, the the same piece of music expands multifold when something like that
Yeah,
happens.
definitely. I mean, in fact, today's, even today's conversation is something, I don't know how to thank you for it, or, how
Not at all.
excited I am for this. So,
Not at all. Not at all. It's truly the emotion of sound. And that is what drives me, and I'm sure thousands of other instrumentalists, and that is the thing that most we want to share with the people that we're
yeah,
listening,
Rasikas,
that,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
that
because
we're
I
listening.
think they are, equivalently a part of your,
Very much.
effort and your passion for what you're doing.
Very much so. I mean, it's all about the sharing, right? If I wanted to just keep it to myself, I could just sit here in my studio and play, which anyway I do countless hours. Like I said, the stage is maybe 2 hours on any given day. but all the other hours are here and in various other places, right? But the thing, when what is unique to getting there on public platforms and actually sharing the music is that
Mhm.
sharing part. It's not just playing the music there. That I can do here, right?
Right. And
Uh,
also, see, as a Rasika, for me, as I said, I also need this as a energizing, something that actually gives my instant mojo for performing my work. So,
Right. And when you feel that mojo per se, and then we feel something together, because that it's basically a communication process as much as talking, right? It's the
right.
same. You have a thought, then there is encoding, there is expression, and then there is you decode the expression, right? And that's how you understand what I'm saying. This is essentially the talking process, right? Music is really a different version of the
Yeah.
same thing. I feel something, I have something to say, my violin is saying it. You receive it a certain way and you understand it a certain way.
Yeah. And
And then
then you
when we
take it your own stride.
exactly. And but then when ultimately we come together with this is what I've said and this is what I've received, and then the two people come together, that's the essence of that sharing. And all of this is not going to be decoded step by step and spoken about like this. All of this is going to be one moment of synergy
Yeah.
where, we're hearing something together at the same time and instantly reacting to it like,
What I mean.
either it could be just like your eyelids are closing. It'll happen on its own. It's involuntary where you close your eyes and you just listen.
What I
Or
mean.
when suddenly it gets open wide and bright, and then you're like, it's just in that one moment of shared reaction.
Beautiful. Okay. So, how do you divide time between technique, repertoire, and improvisation?
Uh, I don't consciously divide time anymore.
Hmm.
Maybe in more of the beginner stages, then it's like, oh, I have to learn this song, and then no, I have to work on this separately, that separately. Right now, it's more a very nice amalgam of everything, because when you're doing, say, each of these things, when I'm learning a song per se, which would be repertoire, automatically now over years of that kind of training, the mind will start thinking of improvisations. So as I'm learning that song, so if I have to,
Okay.
if I have to
Hmm.
play Swaram for this song, how would it be? What are all the places in the composition that I could identify to do the expansion? That happens even as I'm learning the piece sometimes, or
Uh,
as I'm
uh,
practicing it once I've learned it. So, of course, there is still I have dedicated goals in each direction, where in terms of technique, I have like, no, I want to work on this particular left hand technique, or I want to do this particular fingering. I find that I can improve here, or if there's a vacuum in my learning in this place, there's something that I need to fill. So I do have practice goals that are in different areas, and I work very specifically at those goals, but I don't very consciously divide the time saying, oh, this much is for this much is for this, and this is for that. It's
okay. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. That's really nice. I mean, it's showing how you, as an expert, how you evolve and then how things go.
expert, I really wouldn't go as far as to say. But yeah,
Okay.
I feel like, yeah, I mean, the way you learn is different. As you progress, the way you learn is different.
Got it. So, do you practice differently before a major concert versus lighter calendar periods?
See, this is a question where I can't tell you the truth. I mean, jokes aside, no.
Noted.
Because I also tell you why it it won't work. If you're just practicing hard before a concert and then chilling when you don't have a concert, actually that concert will not go that well. That is the honest to God truth.
Okay. So that's, I mean, you have experienced it also.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because everybody has that, no, especially in the earlier stages, because you're also used to how things work in school at that
Yeah.
age.
Yeah.
And there, if you don't study for the rest of the year, which anyone, I don't think
Anybody
any
does. Yeah.
student studies every day just for studying every day. You have a half yearly or whatever it is, then you
Yeah.
study
Actually,
before
the
that.
assessment actually gives you the
Yeah,
push.
Yeah, and that's when you also study then, and you're able to also score something decent with that, and then it just moves on, right? So you're also coming with that in your mind as a child, as a school going,
Right.
but if you try the same thing with music, it is much, much less forgiving, especially an instrument like the violin, no? It is an extremely unforgiving instrument.
Ah.
So even if you practice really hard for, say, 1 week before the concert, then actually you've been chilling before that for, for a long time before that, you've been just doing the minimal amount or something like that. 100% will show in the concert. 1 week won't. It's not the same as studying last minute, practicing last minute doesn't
Yeah.
work.
I think in art as such, what I see is you cannot be good better. I mean, you have to excel. So
Yeah,
otherwise,
and that excelling can't be in like one burst. It's not like, okay, today I'll practice 18 out of 24 hours. Tomorrow I'll be that much better off for it. Actually, you won't. You can even do 2 hours over every day. It's not the hour thing. It's really about a deeper involvement and a more steady, constant involvement at a deeper level. And then, even if you, by the way, don't practice before a concert, you will still play that concert really well. The reverse, I'm saying, is some if
that's
you
like imbibed over no years and
yeah.
years of
So over
meditation.
years, if you do that, you won't even have to practice for a concert, leave alone practicing extra hard before a concert. So that is generally how practice and performance works in especially an art form like Carnatic music, which is so improvisation
Yes.
based, right?
And that too, I mean, you have experts, people who are like, so good, so competitive. And
Everything, right? It's not about it's more about like the depth that you find in it.
mm,
So when you sometimes when I listen to something that I've played now, and then maybe I'll come across some old recording, the same song, maybe I'd have played 6, 7 years back, 10 years back,
okay.
and I can tell, the difference in the depth. um it's the same composition, same art form, same artist, same instrument, all the specs are the same, but there's such a big difference, right? And that is not to say this is better, that was bad, that was at that stage, this is at this stage, and it's
Okay,
a
this
journey,
stage.
right? But for that the involvement has to be constant. It can't be in
Yeah,
fits and
definitely.
starts in big bursts, and otherwise you're coasting. Doesn't really work in this
Ah,
context.
beautiful. So, what is one technical aspect of the violin playing that requires constant attention?
Mm. All of it. I don't know if there's just one that, because
Okay.
there are technical aspects, then you just have to keep in mind, right from the simplest thing, sit up straight. I got like this was one of the first lessons I learned
Your
from my
guru?
teacher. Yeah. My first class, he said, sit up straight like different times in the class, right? Some 10 minutes, then after 20 minutes, then. So
Yeah.
4 times he said, sit up
Especially
straight.
children of today,
Ah,
slouching immediately. The moment they sit, they'll slouch.
I
So,
know every all of us, I think at that unless someone really drives it home like my teacher did for me, saying sit up straight, and then he said it some 4 times during the class, and then he got tired of saying it. So he said, okay, enough for today, you come another day. And I said, okay, fine. He said, okay, what are you going to practice for the next class? And then I said, okay, what should I practice? And then in my notebook he wrote, lesson 1, sit up straight, and sent me home. So I had to. So it's like someone drives it home like that. Then you're just scared straight. So from there you're literally sitting up straight. So that's something I tell my students too. It like don't sit like this and play like this. Like you
exactly.
look like a C shape. Your spine is like this. Like
And
do
also, see, it
up
on the
straight.
long run or after some time, you will only not be comfortable. So,
Everything, whether it's you being comfortable, or actually the position of violin playing can be terrible for your back and your shoulder because you're spending countless hours like this.
holding, yeah.
So for all of that, finding that, so right from seemingly simple things like sit up straight to where your bow arm should be, don't drop your elbow, keep it this way, keep your wrist loose.
Everything.
All of this happens. They're all and different. Same thing for the left hand. You'll have certain fingering techniques, certain more than technique. It'll be like habits. do's and don'ts, and all of that you have to just keep remembering, and you will inevitably forget because sometimes you're like taken over by what you're learning, and all of that the music will take over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So
but you have
these
to
are some things that should be imbibed in you or be
correct,
that's not
you have to
something that you
keep
will.
on.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. You have to keep on
Mm.
reminding yourself. And in the earlier stages, something that helps for this is to practice in front of a mirror. So sometimes, even
Okay.
when you look up, even if you have forgotten something, when you see it, you'll automatically fix.
Oh,
If it is to do with like posture and visible things, then sometimes playing in front of a mirror can help there.
oh, lovely. So coffee before concert or silence before concert?
Both, both.
Oh, okay.
Silence is for peace of mind. Coffee is for waking up the mind.
Beautiful. So one raga that feels like home to you, and why?
Mm, not any one raga. It really depends on the day. But things that I keep going back to, Charukesi and Desh.
Ah, Desh. Yes, lovely. So what inspired the journey into innovation and fusion within Carnatic music? The birth stories of Blue Trio and the Carnatic Quartet.
Um, okay, so as an instrumentalist, we get to explore generally a lot of collaborations, right? Both by view of what our instruments can do, the versatile range that they have, and in terms of when you present different collaborations on stage, then organizers always ask you, okay, last year you did this year what are you going to do, or next year you should do something else. So that push is there to all the time discover new ways of presenting the instrument, right? And so I have sort of explored presenting the violin in different contexts with the flute, with the sitar, with like a tabla, with um, chitravina,
Okay.
right? And then alongside that same journey, then one organizer said, "Okay, last year you did chitravina. Now what are you going to do?" And I was thinking, "Okay, now really, what should I do?" And then at that point, um, I heard this video of Sahana Ragam being played on the Nadaswaram,
Nadaswaram.
right? By Maile Karthikeyan, and my mother independently, as well as my partner Praveen, they both different times they had heard that same video clearly that I had also heard, and then they said, "Hey, why not this?" And at that time, I was kind of because like a little bit skeptical of how that would work because the nature of the instruments are so different. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
and but then we said, okay, give it a shot, try. And so we had like a session at home with myself and Karthikeyan. And then
Okay.
we had after that we thought, okay, let's explore this a little bit. And then we had one concert at Coimbatore. This was before it was called quartet and all that. It was a duet per se. It was like a violin and Nadaswaram duet. And then that
No
concert.
percussionist, no,
No, no,
no.
we had percussionists as well. I mean, what I was trying to say is it was not called ACQ at that
Okay.
time. It was not
Yeah.
a quartet per se. It was like a duet, and we had Mridangam and Ganjira as the percussionists. And um, at that time, we thought actually this has potential. We both felt that there's something really fresh to be explored here, and then later I was speaking to Praveen after that concert saying actually I think this has potential, though I was skeptical to begin with. And Karthikeyan also felt the same way that there could be something to be explored here. um, and then Praveen said, okay, then if you're having mridangam for the violin, why not have tabla for the
Okay. The
swaram? And then
Nadaswaram.
that's how we brought these four together,
Beautiful.
and ACQ per se, we called
Wow.
it a Carnatic quartet, and
Yeah.
so
And
that's
the
the story.
Amma composition is like kind of really driving me crazy. What a beautiful, composition.
Thank you, thank you. But Amma actually is an independent composition. I know the reason maybe you're associating it with this because there is Nadaswaram in that,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
So is
but
it Nathaswaram is playing the same note as yours on the violin?
in certain places,
Ah, okay.
the same, in certain places it's different. But Amma is actually from an album. It's an independent album called Songs
Okay.
from the Blue Room. Um,
Okay. From the
and
Blue Room.
Yeah, and that is an independent album of mine, five original compositions of mine that have been arranged and produced by Praveen Sparsh. And Amma is one of the compositions. There is a song that I made for my mother. Each of the songs has a very, very personal story, and so
Oh,
this one
okay. Wow.
is made was made keeping in mind my mother. And this is a piece where I kind of kept hearing the Nadaswaram playing that line that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So I invited Karthikeyan to come saying, I'm doing this. Can you come for a recording session? And so
Uh,
it's not an ACQ thing. It's from Songs from the
okay.
Blue Room. But
Okay.
yes, it features
Yeah.
the
Right.
Nadaswaram
And that is what
invited.
I'm that the beginning
And
of it, and then you bringing in the violin,
yeah,
intervention.
and what a beautiful thing it adds to
Magical.
the song, right? It's a magnificent instrument, and it creates that magic when it comes in.
Even when we speak about it, feels so good. So when multiple musicians come together in such collaboration, so do you ensure that the violin retains its individuality while still blending seamlessly with the ensemble?
Um, I think it's a mix of both for all the instruments. It's not that when I
Okay, okay.
come into the picture, it's like how do I maintain the individuality of the violin is not really a question that I'm specifically looking at when I enter the collaboration, right?
Okay,
No
okay.
matter what my
You
role
are
is
not.
in that collaboration, whether it is something that I am sort of kickstarting and collaborators are coming in, or I am going into an existing framework as the collaborator, whichever situation it is, it is not that I'm going in thinking, how do I, balance the individuality of the violin versus the ensemble. It's more about understanding what is the overall product that the ensemble wants to present.
Okay. That is the main focus.
That is the focus. And then within that, you want to see celebrating each instrument, celebrating the strength of each instrument is an automatic part of it. Because that's when you actually, it's like that's how you make the sum of the parts. What is the expression that they have? Um the end result is more than the sum of the parts,
Okay.
what they say, right?
Right, right. Yeah.
So that happens only when you celebrate the strengths of every instrument. And so you will also think as a violinist, if I'm entering a collaboration, oh, what can I actually bring to this? What can my instrument do here? Is something, of
Not
course.
what do I get. Okay. It's about what
Yeah.
can you no give.
Yeah, musically, what can you do, and um what can your instrument bring? What in terms of the sound and the music, what can it do? Here is something we will of course think about. But even the way you think about that, I think ideally is keeping in mind what overall the ensemble wants to showcase, whether it is a Carnatic concert or a fusion music show or a recording session. I think that perspective is really, really important,
Okay.
because if you're entering the collaboration from just your point of view, right? What am
Mm-hmm.
I playing? What are my parts? Where do
And
I
what
fit
is it
in the
that
space?
that actually portrays what I am playing? Not
Yeah,
that way. Okay.
correct. If you do that, I actually don't think you would make for a very good collaborator.
Okay. Hmm.
Because it's very important that everybody, which is why I'm saying it is not even to do with the role that you're playing, or whether it's your project or it's somebody else's whichever it is. Everybody who say there are five people who are coming together to create it, all five have to understand, or at least attempt to understand, what the end product, what is the vision, and what is the final, what are you trying to say overall together. And that should guide even what you're saying individually as a person or as an artist. And
Got
then it makes for something that's actually coming together beautifully, rather than different people just trying to prove their own awesomeness, right? And then
got it. Yeah.
ultimately the
Perfect.
project is almost like it's just the framework that is used to project your awesomeness. That project is basically one waste at the end of it. So
So
yeah,
when you travel, what is the one thing that you miss most, or what you gain most?
I miss home. Even if I'm away for a day, I'm very much I wake up in a certain place. I get to open the window and I see a certain view. This is the tea that I have in the morning. I wake up and I hit the gym. I love having a quiet everyday uh, routine. It's not like routine, but I love that sameness.
That,
I don't crave for, oh, today I
travel.
want to eat something different. Tomorrow I want to go someplace new. I actually never crave for that. There are long stretches where I've not even left the house. Sometimes I'll even just lock the door from the outside so that outside the house will look like it's locked and I'll just be inside. It's just quiet and it's peaceful, and very rarely only I feel like I want to go see the outside world. Having said that, I love traveling as well. I love seeing different kinds of um, lifestyles, different kinds of
Ah,
habits, things that you think are very natural to you, how it's completely unnatural. Like how I was saying about my sister and the different perspectives. I think that
yes.
is something I love getting, because it sometimes it makes you question your own perspective.
Mm-mm.
This
Yes.
I thought was like bare minimum, and it's not. There are lots of cases where that's like the luxury part of it. Or what I think sometimes is like a way out of the way luxury. When you go out and see, it's like a very normal thing.
Right.
And that can vary, right, from material things to
Yeah.
like
And from culture to culture, from
yeah,
the
anything,
environment to
habits
environment.
to art to um, anything, even road rules. Like when you drive in Chennai, you get used to something, and then when you drive in the US or you drive in the UK,
Yeah.
and then you see a whole other world of what it means to drive. So
But
all of this travel, I think, gives you a lot of learning and a lot of
different
perspective, and
perspectives.
I absolutely love that. But it's just that I don't, on a daily basis, crave for.
I think
Uh,
anything too much is something that
Yeah,
makes you.
I don't particularly want to eat out or go out or do. I'm very happy to be home doing the things that I do every day. I'm just happy to do that every day.
Lovely. So, is there a profession outside music that secretly fascinates Shreya?
Veterinary medicine. I love animals, and before music kind of hijacked my life, I
Okay.
was
So, you
I
have a puppy at home or a cat?
I unfortunately can't because of the amount of
Ah,
travel, and generally my time is very, no 2 days are the same, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
our it's not like we have set schedules as performing artists. Any given day will just be on that day. Or today there's a recording, and then the evening there's a class. Either I'm teaching or I'm learning, um, or tomorrow there's concert. Then next 1 week I'm traveling. It's a very ad
Yeah,
hoc
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of scheduling.
Correct. So,
So
to have them around
yeah,
and
if you have a
keep
pet,
them
I mean,
along.
you have to take care of them, have that space for that emotionally, emotional bonding, that
Right.
and then doing everything that they need actually to be done. It's not just, or technically somebody else can come and feed once a day, put food in the bowl and go.
No, no, no.
But
Yeah.
it's so much more. It's like having another family member, right? And so I don't feel right about
Any living
um
being.
yeah, unless you really can uh, provide in every way that they need. I don't think you should invite them into the house just for your own, momentary, or even if it's
Sure,
more than
Shreya.
momentary. I really want a dog. Can't be the answer to let's get a dog. Like there should be a system for it, and there should be that space for it. So I feel like unless I'm able to do that, it's not right. But um, I've grown up with different animals,
Okay.
volunteering at different shelters, and
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I think if not for this, it would be veterinary
Yes.
medicine.
A veterinary,
Yeah, I would
medical
love to be able to go
specialist.
from just
Yeah.
loving them and cuddling them and walking them, to also helping them out, and I think generally also I work better with four legs than with two. So I would be, I think, very blissful where I had all of the people around me were cats and dogs, and
Yes. It's actually no emotion. I think emotionally they give a lot of strength to whoever is associated with them.
Yeah, I mean, if you have that bonding, yes, and I feel like that because where I feel like wherever I go, there are friends to be made, and so many people have said don't do when because I make friends with every street dog that I find or anyone's
Oh,
house I visit. Every dog is it just takes like 2-3 minutes to make
actually,
that.
they also, in fact,
Um,
reciprocate to what
Very
we
much
give.
so.
Uh-huh.
So and then when you approach, so I feel like everywhere there are friends to be made, and people be like, no, that's dangerous, don't do that. And there's some truth to that also. I won't downplay it, but I just feel like, friends waiting to be made everywhere I go.
Okay, so now the last segment on you giving gyan. So it's like, so what is the biggest mistake young violin students make today? Be in a hurry to perform.
I don't want to give gyan. I don't even think I would be good at that. I don't,
Okay.
uh, at the risk of sounding inappropriate, I would also say to students, don't listen to gyan.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
I think it's
Rather
more
action out.
important. Yeah, I mean, in the sense of, let me explain what I mean by that. I think it's more important to be honest with yourself in the sense of, I don't even mean like very spiritual, deep level and all that. I mean, very literally, as a practicing student, say you're learning something, right? And then you're practicing it. And then you've hit your, say, okay, I wanted to do this for a half hour or 1 hour or 2 hours or whatever
Okay.
your goal is. And you've
Half an
done
hour
it.
is itself a big thing for students of today.
Yeah, I mean, with their insane schedules, like sometimes when I listen to the kind of academic challenges that my students have, I feel like, how are you even doing music parallelly? The pressures and it's
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. But yeah, whatever your time frame is, say you have done that, record yourself and listen to what you've practiced, what
Uh,
you think you've prepared. You're saying, no, something I finished this.
mm, mm.
Instead of coming and to the class and just showing that point blank to the teacher and saying, I did half hour, whatever I did, it's there. And then leaving it for the teacher to see and
Yeah, yeah.
tell.
And
That is
then give
anyway,
correction.
you're going to do that. Right? Anyway, the teacher's going, that's why that teacher exists. And that's their job in your scheme of things. Teacher will listen, correct, give you next inputs, next steps, all that. But before all of that, more than even setting a time frame and technically checking that box or any other validation, I would say record that whatever you think you're saying, no, it's ready.
Yeah.
Record that and listen to it yourself, not as the person who played it, as a person who's just listening to it. And
Yeah.
you will
That is
see
a
for
nice
yourself.
perspective.
Because when you're playing, you're not always able to, especially in the initial stages, listen while you're playing because
Mm.
you're focusing on playing, you're focusing
Right.
on, oh, it should be this
Yeah.
finger,
Yeah.
oh, it should be this speed, oh, I forgot to put bow here. There are actually quite a few things that you're working on legitimately, right? So it's not
Correct.
always easy to listen while you play.
Mm.
So separate the two processes. Play,
Okay.
do your
Mm.
practice.
Mm.
And then at the end, when you think you've got it, at that point, record yourself. Everybody has phones now. You just do a quick voice note and then listen separately. You're not playing. You're not even the person who played. You're just
Mm.
somebody who's listening. You can see for yourself whether you've actually got it, whether what you think you played is what you've actually played.
Got it.
And that is something that saves countless hours of further practice and correction, very honestly. If
Beautiful.
you are also being honest about it, if you're listening to it and saying, yeah, yeah, it sounds great, then anyway that process is useless for you. Right? But if you're actually listening to it and you're able to identify this
Yeah.
actually has happened, awesome, pat on the back. This has actually not
Not
happened.
happen.
You
Then
go
you
back
need to
and you
work over
fix
it.
that. And then you fix it and then you take a next recording, compare this recording and that recording if you need to, right? And this is a way where you can separate
Very nice.
playing and listening. And when you do that listening part, when you take it seriously, uh, critically listen to your own work and then rework it based on that. And
Beautiful.
then your practice gets so much more efficient and You won't be depending all the time on somebody else to either make you feel good or make you feel bad, saying, oh, this is not good or this is good. When it's good, you'll know. And the guidance of the
Yes.
teacher will only make it like 10x more. You will
Yeah, yeah, right.
understanding of even what the teacher is
Correct.
saying.
Because if you're taking one step ahead, your guru is ready to do the 10x.
Exactly. And that will, even what the guru is saying, right? When they say this is working or this is not working, the student has to be able to even understand what that
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
What is
exactly.
working, why is it working, or what is not working and why is it not working? When you take that step of listening to yourself, even what if the teacher is saying, no, it's too fast here, or it's not sitting correctly, in the tempo is not sitting correctly here, even to understand what he or she is saying, this all of this where you're more involved yourself and you're listening to yourself as a listener, not as the person who's playing, it really puts things in a lot of perspective. So I would say honest, efficient practice is something that every student would want to do, just in the attempt of, see, ultimately, why are you even doing this? I'm not talking about the cases where the parents want them to do it. That's a different case altogether. But say you're doing this because you like it, right? Then
Yes.
something has drawn you to it. There's something that you like this music and then you want to be able to play that music, right? That's the
Mm-hmm.
ultimate goal. So this will get you there that much faster with less frustration and less, just be more into your own practice um,
Yes.
journey.
Yeah.
And then you will find that what you're getting out of your practice will be that much more, and your frustration factor will be that much less. And
Oh,
it kind of makes the whole thing a little bit more meaningful for just the person
beautiful.
doing it, I feel, or
Yeah,
outside
I
of
think
me.
anybody, I think all the students, violin students who are going to, if they're going to spend their a little bit of their time to listen to our conversation, this is a super awesome thought process.
Well,
So
this is what I do. I've done for the longest time. I
beautiful.
obsessively record myself when I practice and hear it back. And I always feel like that gives me perspective. Okay, this is where I can go next, or this is what I want to change. And I tell all my students to do the same thing. So yeah,
So, what matters in the long run, talent or disciplined practice?
discipline practice. 100%. No doubt.
Beautiful.
Talent, yes, we of course see also talent is very subjective. Who is talented? How much of talent is there? The answer will vary from person to person, right? Um, but there is nothing subjective about discipline and commitment and seeing something through. Very, very few things are actually seen through from start to finish. A lot of great ideas, a lot of great talent, somewhere along the way, before seeing the completion of that process, whatever that is, right? It just fades away at 60%, 70%. It can be, like a
Okay.
start, you start a project, you get a great idea. Like that's why it's a lot of great ideas, a lot of great talents. You have a big burst of a start, and then somewhere along the line, the focus is lost because maybe you're now focusing on some other idea that's come along the way, or something else that's coming easier to you, or something else that's more easier validation, greater validation, something like that,
Got it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
um so the thing that bridges that gap, that allows you to actually take it to completion, you've got an idea, you're bringing out that product. It can be creating a song, it can be launching a band, it can be um,
Anything,
anything. You use a practice
anything
goal
that
that you
you're
set
working
for
on, right?
yourself. You started off learning
And
on
not just music as such, to
anything.
anything,
When you
anybody.
set that starting point to actually take it, see it through to its final stage and bring it to fruition, is 90%, I would say, discipline and that clarity of process, and the idea that I want to see this through, um, and not be
Awesome.
distracted either when other things come in, or when it gets hard, or when it's very easy to dissipate that focus and that energy. To keep it together and see it through, 100% discipline.
Beautiful. So, with that awesome 100% discipline, so thank you for today's time. I know how precious time is for you. So, look forward to many more topic discussion, Shreya. I'm sure this is just, a minute percent of all the beautiful knowledge you have and the awesome music that gives me the instant mojo, and I don't know what it mean. I mean, how it is, giving it for others. So look forward to your violin solo very soon in live.
For sure, for sure. Delhi, right?
Yes, Gurgaon.
Gurga, let's make it happen. Thank you for having me today. It's been lovely speaking with you. Uh, I love the um, I love the intent with which you're doing these conversations, and I'm gonna look forward to listening to a lot of other people on this series as well, and getting all of that insight.
Sure. Thank you so much. Bye
Thank
bye.
Bye bye.